December 5th at Bearscott Stadium. You'll notice the portalets are gone now. It is Thursday, December 5th. We're getting our first look at December at Bearscott. We were last here on the day before Thanksgiving. We were at the crucial part of Thanksgiving Fest. Hey, it looks like they've even made another little path in here. Looks good. We're going to see if our leaf formation is still there. How you guys doing today? All right, so we are in the beginning of Christmas Fest, and it's day 5 of Christmas Fest. Last night's feature presentation, second viewing in the recorded history of Christmas Fest, first since 2018, Motion Picture Fiesta 2018, 6 years ago. Looks like our leaf formation is gone. Our first viewing of this film, Black Christmas, 1974, picked by Andy 8010. Black Christmas. This one has Margot Kidder, Keir Dullea. Margot Kidder, of course, of Amityville, Superman. Not sure what else Keir Dullea was in, but Olivia Hussey of course, Romeo and Juliet, and she was in the made-for-TV Psycho sequel, Psycho 4. I think it's called The Beginning, 1994. I forget the year of that film, but she plays the Norman Bates' mother in the prequel film. It's a prequel of Psycho. This one is directed by Bob Clark. Bob Clark is his name, who also directed Porky's 2, and a Christmas film that I despise. I've seen one time, I'll never watch it again. A lot of people love it. It's called A Christmas Story, 1983. He directed that one too. So Bob Clark doing Black Christmas, a historical film in the slasher genre. It is credited as being one of the first slasher films in history. It's certainly not the first ones. It probably goes back to like Psycho 1960 and Peeping Tom 1960. There may be some earlier influences than that. I know there's like a sorority thriller back in like the 30s, but slasher historians will have to correct me on that. But Twitch of the Death Nerve, 1971, the Italian film I've never seen, might be really the first slasher. It has a lot of the classic slasher tropes, such as the final girl, the do something bad and you get killed, the I guess it's the house mother of the sorority, she's an alcoholic. She hides whiskey bottles and stuff all over the place and drinking. You know she's gonna die. She couldn't die soon enough. I hated her, but they have that motif where she's in the attic and you know she's gonna die because of what you've seen in 80s slasher, but the way she's talking to herself, talking to her cat, I think it is, like, is that you? You know, like, you can't see him, you just know it's like she's gonna die. So it kind of has that, which at the time was like new, but this is one that I've never loved. It has a huge cult following, but as a huge fan of the slasher genre, it's also got the unhelpful, stupid cops trope in there, which is good. It has, just as a huge fan of the 80s slasher genre, it's impossible not to appreciate this. I like this one better. I think it's like maybe the 3rd time I've seen this, but Black Christmas, it's got the opening is really sets a nice tone. It's got this kind of like gothic font of the thing, Black Christmas, and it's dark, and you see and the house is really cool, this old house. And most of the film is like shot at night, so it's dark. The inside of the house is cool. It has some genuinely scary moments, very scary moments. So it's not cheese, it's very intelligent, unlike 80s slashers. So watching this, I'm seeing all these different little tropes that I've seen so many times in early 80s slashers, and it's great to like see kind of the innovation of it. In Black Christmas, 1974, last night's feature presentation, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that also we have in this John Saxon, the great John Saxon, kind of doing a similar role as he did in Blood Beach 1980 as one of the like detectives. Kind of similar because he's like dealing with, you know, young people getting killed, and he's one of the smarter detectives there. And just great to see John Saxon. He doesn't steal the film, and he doesn't have a huge role in it, but it's a very good supporting character in this movie. John Saxon's always phenomenal, just great. And you have Nick Mancuso in an uncredited role here. Nick Mancuso was the brother of Frank Mancuso, who produced, I think, 4 or 5 of the Friday the 13th films, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, and part 7. Didn't do part 6. So Nick Mancuso's brother has a small role in this film. Black Christmas 1974. Some people say that Halloween like ripped this off. I'm going to be fair to John Carpenter. I'm not a huge fan of Halloween 1978, but Halloween 1978 John Carpenter did not rip off Black Christmas 1974, but he was definitely inspired by the film. So there's a big difference in that. So maybe the greatest horror Christmas film of all time. I think it might be. So, and it's an incredibly historical film for the horror, slasher subgenre. So great to see that one last night. Thank you, Andy 8010. We're at Bearscott Stadium. By the way, we're going to do a one for all the marbles to determine the film for tonight. And maybe get something a little more upbeat than Black Christmas. So we are now at a point where I don't see any green grass left at Bearscott. I mean, you see these little patches here, but like the last time we were here, it was around the edges. You could see some green there, but now look at this, guys. This is like one of my favorite times at Bearscott Stadium, when you've got this color grass. And you saw the swirling leaves here. It's a windy day. We're in the 30s. It's the coldest day since January here at Bearscott. And last week we saw some leaves left. They're just a little bit still left up at the top, but it's for the most part Bearscott here. And it's windy. The trees are swaying pines, Bearscott. We got some partly sunny coming in, but it looks like mostly cloudy right now. It said a little rain, but I don't think it's going to rain. Wow, this is a really special time at Bearscott Stadium. As much as I love the sweltering, July days here, this is also what it's all about right here. And don't see B-Mile yet. I think B-Mile has to come here in the cold, but maybe he's more of a January man. February man. I haven't seen B-Mile here in a long time. I haven't seen my buddy with his dog either. He's usually around this time too. Walks his dog a little bit. That little dog. Look at this swaying trees here at Bearscott Stadium, boys. NFL Week 14. Thank you for everyone who watched my Peter's top 10 power rankings for the 3/4 point on Wednesday night, Tuesday night. I appreciate that. And now we're into week 14. 5 weeks remaining, and we kick off week 14 with one of the big ones. One of the biggest games of the week. This is Green Bay at Detroit. EM Goat Titties was talking some big trash already this morning about the Packers. C-Town, where are you? C-Town, you son of a... You better come in for afternoon trivia if you want to win. This is going to be a big game, okay? So I'm going to make my pick here, and I'm going to say this is going to be a game where this is massive, an NFC North matchup. Much more pressure on the Lions in this game. The Packers don't really have a shot at the division. What the Packers want to make sure is that they get a 5 or 6 seed. They don't want to drop to a 7 seed. If you drop to a 7 seed in the NFC, you're screwed. That means you have to play the Lions or the Eagles. If you're a 5 or 6, you get a winnable road game. Okay, as a wild card, you can get. It could be Seattle. It could be Arizona. It could be Tampa Bay. It could be, God forbid, the Falcons. It could be one of those teams. They're all beatable, especially compared to Detroit and Philadelphia. Speaking of Philadelphia, before I make my pick, speaking of Philadelphia, we had not only Eagles 52 last night coming in, we had Ray Nasty slap. Ray, good to see Ray Nasty. The ratings were off the chart with that AOL legend in the house and talking about old AOL glory days memories, asking about old chatters. Wow, what a phenomenal time. Great profile pick as well. Ray Nasty, you are welcome any day of the week. F Philly, but God bless Ray Nasty. That's all I got to say. This is going to be a game, Green Bay at Detroit, where you're going to have a lot of points in this game. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. Detroit's formula is to get a lead and then let their defense take over. It's not going to be easy to do that against Green Bay. Green Bay's got a nice little power attack. They might go for that route, kind of late in the game, but I've just been saying all year, it's really tough to beat Goff in the Dome. It's tough to beat. He's gonna, if you fantasy skanks, if you got Goff, pick him tonight because it's gonna be kind of they're gonna have to rely on him to go for kind of the shootout in this game. So big fantasy numbers for Goff tonight, and they win maybe by 6 points tonight. I got to go with Detroit. I'm kind of surprised to see that on Pip's Pick'ems. Ray Nasty was asking about Pip, by the way. But in Pip's Pick'ems, I think right now it is before it was 91% Lions, and now it's 89%. That's heavy on Detroit. I don't have them. I'm not putting a lot of points on Detroit because this is just too tight a matchup, and I like the Packers much more than I've liked them at the beginning of the year. Got to go with Detroit in this game. Detroit's got to. They're going to close this one out. They are. This is a big one. Detroit wins tonight. All right, guys. Christmas Fest, Bearscott Stadium. There's nothing like it. It is Thursday. You gotta do some power walking. All right, boys. Woo! Bearscott Stadium.